You know what comes around every April, whether you like it or not? Tax season. That's right. You have to collect all these documents, all your official documents from all the places that they come in, all the envelopes that they come in. And then you have to sit down, if you're like me, with your tax person, or you have to sit on your computer and fill out your TurboTax, and you have to figure it all out. You have to figure out whether you owe money or whether you are owed money, all of it. But ever wonder, did Jesus pay taxes? Well, there's this great story in Matthew chapter 17 about taxes, and there's so many more layers to it. I can't wait for you to dive into it today. Back in Jesus' day, all the Jewish men over 19 years old were supposed to pay an annual tax to the temple. Once a year, they were supposed to go and give 2 drachma for the upkeep of the temple, kind of like when you support your church because the boiler might go out. And this whole idea comes from Exodus chapter 30, where Moses tells the people that they're supposed to give an offering of registration of a half shekel to God in order to upkeep the temple. This has been a long-standing tradition. Now, the half shekel is actually the same as the 2 drachma. But like every time it seems that there are taxes involved in anything, there are basically 2 people in different camps. There are people who resent the taxes, and there are people who resisted it. And then there are people who are part of the establishment who supported the upkeep of the temple and the taxes. So you have people who are sort of rebelling against it and people who were absolutely for it. And so the tax collector in Matthew 17 sees Peter, Jesus' disciple, and he wants to find out if Jesus is an establishment man or a rebellion man, if he supports the upkeep of the temple, which is good, or if he pushes back and refuses to pay the temple tax. And Peter knows the answer. Immediately he sits there and says, well, yes, Jesus pays the taxes. He pays the 2 drachma tax every year in order to keep up the work of the temple. But then Peter has more questions, and so he's going to bring it up with Jesus. He gets home to where he and Jesus are staying, and he asks Jesus about his interaction with the tax collector. And then Jesus does what Jesus always done. He turns the question with another question to Peter. Jesus looks at Peter and he says, well, what do you think, Simon? From whom do kings of the earth take toll or tribute? From their children or from the others? Now, Peter thinks about it for a minute. He says, well, of course, for others. You see how Jesus is getting Peter to sort of process and think. Yes, the children are not taxed because they are free. They are children of the king. There's no tax for the children. So whether the children choose to give or not to give, that is up to the children. What Jesus is doing here is actually a discussion so much bigger and broader than just about taxes. It's a discussion on what do we owe God? What do we owe God? It depends on if we're in the others category or if we're in the children category. Children, they get to choose whether they give or whether they don't. There's no obligation put on the children. Others, they don't have a choice, and they have an obligation to give the taxes. So, children of God, you're not obligated to pay the tax. All you gain from God is inherited and freely received, meaning that us, as children of the heirs, we get to choose what we give and what we don't give, because we are children of God. And then at the end of the story, there's this beautiful, weird thing where Peter is told to go fishing. And in that fishing, he takes out a fish who has a 4 drachma coin in his mouth to cover both Jesus's and Peter's temple tax, showing us that as children of God, God's going to take care of our needs like God does for all of God's children. Our lives as children of King, of the heavenly King, is provided for. So for fun, here's your questions for today. Number 1. Would you pay the temple tax? Are you an establishment person, or are you a rebellious person? And number 2, what does this story, this tiny little story, teach you about God's depth of love for you, his child?